Caitlin, this is feedback for the interim submission for the hotel project. The assessment criteria for this part of the project is concept, being clearly identified, explanatory annotation, a fully resolved planning solution, the visual explanation of the design proposal, and your proposals for materials, finishes and products. Looking firstly at your printed coloured sheet, which gives the indication of the 4 areas that you're going to be designing, and referring back to your initial sort of mood boards, concept board, I can see how you've taken some of the aspects of this kind of urban Glasgow cityscape and translated it into materials and finishes. These come across quite well in your presentation. Looking at reception with your timber finishes, the LED lighting, there's that concrete floor and this sort of sculptural lighting. I'm just checking the numbers and then trying to figure out where they relate to. I see they're in your perspectives. So again, there's some consideration to the reception, to the sort of detailing of the bar counter and the overhead feature canopy and things. That looks quite interesting. And again, with the restaurant, you're sort of highlighting, yes, where certain elements are. So again, your wee sketch visuals giving an indication of your intentions for that space. And again, same with the bar area on the ground floor. Again, just that wee bit of detailing, that wee bit of colour rendering gives an idea of the space that you're trying to, the feel that you're trying to create in that space downstairs. And the function room, you've given us some sort of basic ideas of how that might look through some of the photographs and sample images that you've brought up there. On the ground floor area, the planning solution looks like you've retained the majority of the existing wall structures, which isn't a problem. But I think I'd maybe be looking to sort of maybe ring some small changes in how maybe you want people to circulate through the space. I'd be tempted to ditch the round seating on the column in front of the lifts and maybe rethink that sort of whole wall area. You were looking at your interactive board. Is that something that could become bigger? Could you look at putting your door somewhere else, so you might be making people walk round the wall to get into your lift and into your stairs upstairs? Bar area looks fine. I think the bar counter looks overly big for that particular space, so that's maybe something that you could have a look at. And again, I think more illustrations of how you see that looking would actually maybe convince me more of how you want that space to look. The first floor plan, I see you've worked into one of your sort of CAD drawings. To me, it looks like you could do with doing a tracing overlay and actually sort of work into this a wee bit more. There's some aspects of the planning I think need to be sort of looked at. So I'm looking at the fact we're coming up the stairs, we're coming into a sort of first floor reception kind of lobby area. You seem to have, is that seating? Or is that part of the bar counter? I'm not sure. Some of this is actually unclear. You've got your access into your function hall. If you're going to use a function hall as part of your project, and you're allowed to do that, I would show it as a sort of operational. Then how would it look set up for a wedding, or how would it look set up for a function? If you've got partition walls, then let's show the partition walls. I think there's probably need to think about the sort of access to the furthest away room, if that's how you see it sort of working. I think if I'm reading this right, your bar counter is actually enormous. I'm not sure if you need something quite as big as that. And again, I'd be looking at where you're positioning that in relationship to the windows. Even if it was to stay in the same place, could you reduce the size of the bar and have more area along the window edge for seating for guests? I think we look at the sort of furniture layout as well. Maybe this is something that, again, if you take this to is a bit more resolved and then take it to CAD, if you were going to use CAD to draw up, it would look better. Maybe the spacings of things would look better. If you can have a look at the toilets that you've allocated and the sort of access into those, you'll see I've highlighted that you've got toilets against a window wall, particularly in the female toilets, plus this gap between the back of the toilets and the walls. Is that deliberate, or is that something that needs addressed? You've roughly allocated kitchen space, that looks fine. I think we just need you to sort of refine this now and show a lot more detail in the planning solution. Again, put that in addition to sectional elevations, because you're highlighting things like shattered glass effect, partitioned, booth seating. So you've considered a lot of aspects. I think they're probably just not coming across in this at this stage of the project. If you can take notes from this recording, and we can arrange to catch up early next week, and just have a wee talk about the planning solution and how we can move it on. Thank you.